Are cartoonists born or made? Let's find out in today's episode with Terrace by Noah Van Sciver. Hey comic heads, and welcome back to Dangerous Comics. I'm your host, Dane Georges, and today we're looking at Terrace by Noah Van Sciver. Theft, Lies, and Poverty. Now, this is a really cool autobio comic, kind of in the similar vein of some other autobios that he has done. The biggest one being One Dirty Tree, which is also published by the same publisher, Uncivilied Books. But I really love this kind of smaller format. It's almost like zine size. Another comic that Uncivilied Books is putting out at this format is Ginseng Roots by Craig Thompson. And I think it works really well for Noah Van Sciver's artwork, and it really pops on the kind of paper they're putting on here. Noah has a really great sense of color and line art. I think he said he kind of mixes a little bit of like traditional coloring and then doing some photoshopping as well. Photoshop like flat color. I think like a little bit of colored pencil makes its way in there. It's like a layer he puts in there, but I think it works really well for kind of like the kind of line art that Noah does. It works amazingly. But really cool cover as the Noah Van Sciver character is running into the woods, scared of something. So we start with a, hey, what is this? This is Terrace #1, and Noah says, whenever I draw stories based on my childhood, it fills my family with dread. They want to know why I insist on dragging out our humble past and drawing it for the world to see. I'm sorry to cause friction with any of them, but I can't leave it alone. I'm an artist, and I must explore these aspects of my life and tell my stories. I have an overwhelming compulsion to get it all out on paper and leave this earth with a proper, full self-portrait. So let's go. It says, your main man, Noah Van Sciver, TM, 8 years old, a man of high morals. Hi, God. Innocent and abused. Shit rolls downhill. Similar themes, similar stories do come up in Noah Van Sciver's other autobio book, One Dirty Tree. But a little bit of background is that Noah is one of 8 siblings that grew up in New Jersey. We do know one of his other brothers is another pretty popular comic artist, Ethan Van Sciver, who did a lot more like mainstream Marvel and DC work, has gone on to be kind of a crappy guy doing some Comics Gate hate group kind of work. But Noah should not be confused with Ethan. Noah's making really great comics, indie comics, and has explored a lot more of autobio and also exploring his LDS faith with his book about Joseph Smith called Joseph Smith and the Mormons. But really kind of gets into what made him the way he is. And I think we get a little bit more of that kind of seeing his upbringing, his family, and how comics does kind of seem like it was a through line through their family, and how that produced 2 very different comic artists out of the same family. If you're not super aware, some of Ethan's other books are like Blammo, which was published by Kilgore. He also did The Hypo, a book about Abraham Lincoln, young Abraham Lincoln, and kind of his rise to fame and his life as a lawyer. And then one of my favorites is Fante Bukowski, which is about this loser who wants to be a writer and kind of self-important guy. And I really love the presentation of all the strips to look like this like classical author book. This is a fantastic book. So funny. But it's really cool to see Noah kind of do a range of comic work. But for this autobio comic, we kind of dive into, like we were saying, 8 years old and kind of what his life was like at that time. And we get New Jersey, 1992-ish. Get the insects of New Jersey. And this is so cool too. I just love how versatile comics are, that you can kind of do pages like this that's still technically, 6-panel comic, but it's a very different format than what we're getting in the rest of this comic. And I love seeing artists kind of stretch and drawing different kind of stuff like this. But we get these bugs, and then we cut to these boys sleeping in their room. They say, oh my gosh, look at Noah. Noah, wake up. What? There's a cockroach on your face. Oh, get it off me. And he thinks they're messing with him, but they weren't. There's a cockroach on you this big. And so he's saying, no, stop. I don't want to sleep on the floor. Can't I sleep in the bed for once? No way. You're not bringing your roach friend into bed. And then, wah! And then coming from outside the room, don't make me come in there. It's late, go to bed. So kind of giving us a little bit of a viewpoint of Noah's childhood and what he grew up with. Obviously, lots of kids all sharing a room in not maybe the best conditions. We've got bugs and cockroaches going around. Shh, you woke up mom and dad. Dad's going to come up here and use his belt on us. So obviously, kind of a more traditional conservative family, and they go back to bed after being yelled at. Their dad can still hear them talking up there. We get the skitter skitter, the New Jersey cockroach. And that's such a cool contrast of like the educational bug layout and then seeing this bug in action in their room. And we see a couple comics on the floor. But this issue is called Sean's Spawn. I love Noah's style so much. I love just like this simple interpretation of the trees, but how this foliage really gets some depth. And you can kind of feel that texture difference versus how he kind of draws the houses. I really like the kind of like loose interpretive style, how these lines don't have to be perfect, because nothing in reality and in the real world is all straight lines or perfect 90-degree angles. We kind of get more of like this real lived in looking world. And we have Noah playing with a friend. He's playing with some trolls and his alien toy, but the friend will never let the troll die. Noah always has to be the bad guy. He won't let him be the hero. Poor Noah, his friend's telling him that he can't play with him anymore and he can't come to his birthday party. So kind of also building up of like what the reputation of the Van Scivers would have been like in their town, and maybe just how other kids viewed him growing up, which is super sad. He can't come to the birthday party. He's leaving, walking, crying. And as he's going back home, we get this overlaid kind of conversation of these kids saying, it's an investment. These comics will be worth big money. Nova, Doom 2099, Youngblood. I buy 2 copies, and so should you. One to read, one to put away. So great commentary on like, how people viewed comics in the 90s, kind of seeing them as like that Beanie Baby kind of boom of like, oh, these are all going to be worth just as much as Action Comics #1. Death of Superman is going to be just as worthwhile. So everyone's better buy 20 copies so you can get your kid through college with them. And this guy's saying, there's excitement in the industry, guys. Superman is dead. Who's next? These are boom times. It's getting rabid out there. In fact, Fat Jack's only allowed me to buy 1 copy of this, and it's Spawn issue 5. And they're saying, what's so good about that issue? Are you kidding? 2 words. Billy Kincaid. Who? A child killer. He poses as an ice cream man. He's real sick and takes apart his victims in gruesome ways until Spawn takes him out, hangs him with chains and slaughters him. Wow, can I see that comic, Sean? And Sean says, I thought I smelled a Van Sciver. Get lost. This comic would make you shit your 1 pair of shorts. Come on, please. My brothers let me watch The Stand on TV. I'm not too scared. So just kind of getting bullied by these older kids. But you kind of see how Image Comics and just comics were so popular at that time. Everyone's kind of talking about the hype of it. And so he's trying to hang out with these kids, but they're trying to get rid of him. And they kick him out of here, and he leaves thinking about Spawn. We get home, and we kind of see a little bit of the conditions that he grew up in. There's a cat peeing on the floor. Water's dripping from the roof. He says, Dad's in the shower. He says, if Dad's in the shower, then I'm going to look at his comics. And he runs up there. We get a little view of Noah's mom and dad, a little disconnected from the kids. But we also see that the dad was into comics. And I think that really speaks to maybe how we got these 2 comic artists coming out of one family. And like that comics were obviously very accessible and a good form of reading for these kids, and maybe consumable media that they could have gotten their hands on. And so he looks at what his dad has. Conan, King Conan, Machine Man, Red Sonja. Dang, no Spawn here. Dad only buys dumb, boring comics. And then his dad comes out, what are you doing over there, you little maggot? Leave my comics alone. He says, I was only looking for the new issue of Spawn. I didn't touch anything, I swear. Todd McFarlane is for boys, son. Barry Windsor Smith is for men. And the mom's just typing away, not even looking at him. And so kind of leaves plotting of like, how is he going to get his hands on this issue of Spawn? Like, he's got to read it. He's like, I got to read that comic. I bet it's up in the attic. I'm not allowed up there because it's my older brother's room. But they aren't home right now. I could sneak up there and read it before they get here. But it's deceitful to read comics that aren't mine. Still, I can't help myself. Nobody will know. And he looks over his shoulder, and Joseph Smith, they have like an image of him because this is a very traditional LDS family, and he's looking at him. And I love that the portrait changes, like a little concerned that he's going to go do this thing. And he's sweating. He sneaks up there. One of his other brothers is up here reading Wildcats. He says, reading Ethan and Josiah's comics, is he crazy? Gonna tell me I'll kill you? No, wait. I just want to read the new issue of Spawn. I won't tell anyone. Spawn is on his desk. Now shut up so I can finish this story. And we see he's reading Wildcats. On Ethan's drawing table, we see Spawn and Billy Kincaid. And then we're seeing some splashes of the issue. And I think it's really interesting. We were looking at Local Man on the channel as well, and Local Man also referenced Spawn 5. This spread directly references page 5 of issue 5 of Spawn, and we see how Noah kind of interprets these Todd McFarlane drawings. I love this dramatic view of Billy Kincaid with his disgusting flavor saver, and how Noah draws that here in his own style. And we also get this scared child's face over here. This creepy shot of the fingers getting closed into the drawer right there. Probably one of the most noteworthy and dramatic panels of the whole Spawn 5 comic is this page where we're showing that he's doing some finger painting. I love doing finger painting, and he's actually gluing severed fingers onto some construction paper, like doing some art, like actually painting with fingers. But Spawn 5, it really made an impact, captivated the minds of young readers in 1992. As he's getting caught up, we hear Micah saying, I heard someone coming, I'm out of here. And then Noah says, wait for me, leave no trace, but, oh no. And as he's like getting so stressed, he actually rips the cover off this comic. I wrecked it, I ruined Spawn, I'll be killed for this, I shouldn't have been up here. The woods, I'll hide it there. I love the mania on his face. Just really great cartooning, and I love this, just this caricature of himself that Noah does. He runs into the woods like he's gonna dispose of a body, and we're kind of getting these flashbacks of him just like thinking down on himself, how everyone hates him. He can't really catch a break. He's not invited over to this friend's house. Sean's hating on him, saying he smells. Even his own brother's saying he's gonna kill him. So he's crying, throws the issue down. And then we're thinking of the great Joseph Smith. He's saying, I'm sorry, and starts to bury this issue of Spawn in the woods. Like I was saying, as if it was a dead body. Cover. And as he's looking over what he's done, he says, I'll never forget this. And we like pan out, like big zoom out, and we see that there's like smoke rising from the woods. And some sirens, and Noah goes out and he's, what's going on? And we see a fire's going out, and it's because those boys had some fireworks and they set them off and it did not go well. They're now being arrested, and he sneaks back to see, and he sees that big jerk crying, and he can't believe it. He actually finds Sean's bag of comics, his pristine comics. How could it be? Nova, Doom 2099, Spawn issue 5, Sean's comics in mint condition. Left behind, just what I need. Thank you, God. I love this last panel of God giving him the thumbs up. Everything's coming up, Noah. So he sneaks back home. His brother's saying, Ethan's looking for you. He knows you took his comic. You told on me? But I wouldn't have told on you, Micah. I would never steal Josiah or Ethan's comics like you did. You better go talk to him. And says, oh no, I can't take any more abuse today. I hope he understands. I must be a humble and apologetic ninja. So he gets to the top of the stairs and just slides this issue of Spawn over. And we get this very ominous silhouette of Ethan. What are you doing up here taking my comics? I'm sorry. I just wanted to read Spawn, but I accidentally ripped the cover. So I buried it in the woods by the community center. But I got you this new mint copy. You buried it? Yes. Because I killed it and I was ashamed. If you want to read my comics, ask me first. I only care if Micah's up here. He's a weenie. Do you understand? Yes. Good. Thanks for replacing my comic. Tell Micah I'm going to punch him in the mouth. And then he leaves kind of in awe that he made it out alive of this whole interchange. And I think it's also, this is an interesting kind of view of like how Ethan and Noah grew up together and how they saw each other. Obviously there's this big age difference. Noah's supposed to be 8 years old at this time. I don't know how old Ethan would be, but obviously idolizing his older brother and kind of seeing him as this like omnipotent, scary figure that could kind of like end him if he wanted to. Obviously, Ethan's persona or personality has kind of preceded him now into what he's kind of formed with Comicsgate. But we have Noah leaving, and he said, well, his brother Micah says, "What happened?" "Nothing. He was understanding. Here's a copy of Doom 2099, just giving out some of the goods he says. "Really? Where'd you get this?" "I found it near the community center." "Oh, Ethan said he's going to punch you in the mouth." And then we end on 2 more panels. That night, scary dreams of Billy Kincaid. "No, there's another cockroach on you. Ah, get it off." So we got ask for more letters. And then if you already like this comic and can't wait to see what happens in issue 2, I appreciate it and hope that you'll buy a copy of my graphic memoir, One Dirty Tree, out now from Uncivilized Books. And hey, why not ask your local comic shop to carry future issues of this title, Maple Terrace? Tell your friends, tell your family too. Invest in your future today with these other fabulous Uncivilized comic titles. So that has been Maple Terrace #1. Really cool autobiographical comic by Noah Van Sciver. Like I said, this has 3 issues out so far, so check out uncivilizedbooks.com and see if you can order any of these issues from them directly. Support this really cool publisher. They put out some really awesome work as well. And like I was saying, these books are really high quality. I really like the paper, has a little bit of texture on it, and I think the colors just sit on it really nicely. I really can't recommend it enough. I think it's a great view into how a kid would grow up into being a cartoonist and what a love of comics looks like at that age in that kind of environment. And if you like this comic, I'd really appreciate if you check out some of my comics as well. You can find my work at danegeorges.com. I have a bunch of comics you can check out there. Specifically, I do a series called Doomskull, which is about an ex-supervillain that works at a grocery store with his minion Bag Boy. I've got 3 issues of that available on danegeorges.com, with a 4th that I'm finishing up currently. I also have some black and white horror zines like Sleepless Sights and The Passenger, as well as X-Ray, which is a collection of 4-panel webcomics that I would have posted on Instagram, Webtoons, and Tapastic. My newest zine is Jiggly Bub, which is about a piece of gum that God spits out and lands on Earth. And he tries to find his place in this big, crazy world we live in. I also had a 2-page strip show up in Bootleg Bob's, which collects 20 artists from across the US. I did a 2-page story about Teddy getting in the dumpster trying to eat some trash. And I have another story in Revenge of the Holozine, 5 pages in there about Fish and Chip. So lots of stuff you can choose from, all available at danegeorges.com. So I'd really appreciate if you check that out. And thank you for checking out this video. If you haven't, please like, comment, or subscribe. I post a video every Wednesday, so be on the lookout for that. But this has been Dangerous Comics, and I really appreciate you sticking around. I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks!